Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z and today we're going to be doing the 9th part of What If Naruto Was an Ape Sage. This What If has gone on really long and it's actually pretty close to finishing now. I've got to put a poll up to determine what's going to be in the next part and it's going to be pretty fun. There's nothing much else I want to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag, disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
Sasuke stands and the Chidori forms in his hand. He quickly zooms right at the Raikage, but then a cluster of sand appears. He slams the Chidori into the sand, but more sand just coats his arm and the Chidori dies down into nothing. He pulls his arm back and says, Gaara. Gaara says, we don't need such violence, Sasuke. Sasuke gets rid of his Susanoo and returns to his normal form. However, he keeps his Mangekyo Sharingan intact. Sasuke says, come on, I was just training myself. Gaara says, for what? Sasuke says, for Naruto. I've made my choice, Gaara, you can't stop me, not even physically. Gaara's sand flows and he says, oh really? Sasuke reveals his classic blue Chidori and says, I don't even need all my power to defeat you, Gaara. He zooms at him, then leaps up with a shout. He pushes through the sand, then goes in for the final attack, but the Raikage grabs his wrist and kicks him in the abdomen. Sasuke flies back and his Mangekyo Sharingan falls back. He says, actually, I want someone else. He turns and thinks, Danzo. He zooms at the door and almost makes it through, but A stands in front of him, then Terumi seals off the exit. As in canon, Tobi arrives and saves Sasuke from Inoki the Tsuchikage. Everything goes similar, all the same to canon until the battle of Sasuke and Danzo. Sasuke stands against him after Tobi does his whole thing by capturing Fu Yamanaka and Torune. Sasuke says, we finally meet, and you dare use my clan's eyes? His Mangekyo Sharingan takes form and he says, I'll show you a little something I've been working on. He reveals his hand and his eyes glow red. His curse mark pulls across his body into level 2, then he flaps his wings violently. The black Chidori takes form within his hand and Amaterasu cloaks it. You can't really see it on the Chidori, but you can hear it swooshing and burning with the electrical crackling noise to follow. Sasuke slides one leg back, then ducks down slightly. He quickly dashes off, then jumps. He gets more height with his wings and he slams his wings onto his back. This is to decrease as much drag as possible to make him dive faster. He dives all the way down, then slams his Chidori into Danzo's arm. It causes serious injury on Danzo's body as well as his Shisui arm to destroy itself. He shouts, no! Sasuke says, one of your experiments, huh, Danzo? Danzo swings at Sasuke, but he blocks and kicks him away. He zooms right back at him, then lands a powerful kick before flipping right in his direction. As Danzo tries to get up from this devastating attack, he slams him right back into the ground again. He causes a massive crack, then he kicks Danzo out of the crater. Danzo stands shakily and still has one Sharingan left. Sasuke raises his arm and says, Black Chidori Spear. He launches a beam of concentrated black lightning and it stabs right through Danzo. He then uses Chidori Current to blast Danzo with a wave of harsh and painful black electricity. As Danzo is left stunned from this attack, Sasuke pulls out his sword. It crackles with black lightning, then he zooms at Danzo. He slices his head right off before he can even use his Sharingan, then stabs his sword right into his forehead. He dusts his hands and his curse mark fades away. He says, job well done. He kicks Danzo's lifeless body, then pulls the sword out of his forehead. He sheathes his sword, then walks away. Tobi says, there is no need for Karen anymore, Sasuke, kill her. Sasuke unsheathes his sword and says, my pleasure. Karen says, please. Sasuke says, oh please, you heard the guy. There's no use for you anymore. We don't need you alive therefore. He goes in for the slash, but Naruto is there to kick him away. This kick from base Naruto causes an outburst of wind and also causes Sasuke to fly back. He also drops his sword in the process. Sasuke didn't even get to see who it was, but he stands and already knows it was Naruto. He says, Naruto, you are here. Kakashi is there too and he says, Sasuke, stop or we will resist. Sasuke says, you will try, but the question is if you can. He picks up his sword and it cloaks in a mass of black lightning. His curse mark goes into level 1 and he says, I want Naruto. Kakashi stands in front of him and says, you have to go through me. Sasuke zooms at Kakashi and shoots him away with a chakra boosted kick. Kakashi falls back, then Sasuke leaps up and tries to slash him, but Kakashi swerves out of the way and kicks his gut. Sasuke falls back, then Kakashi goes in for a punch. Sasuke tries to slash his gut again and Kakashi dodges slightly. Some black lightning trickles onto Kakashi and causes a small bruise and lightly stuns him. He then slashes up him and causes a massive cut across his body. He goes in for the final stab, but Kakashi reveals his Mangekyo Sharingan and sends his sword to the Kamui route. However, that same sword flies towards Sasuke from behind and he catches it. Kakashi is so confused but keeps attention to the fight. Sasuke goes in for the slash, but Kakashi dodges and reveals his Mangekyo Sharingan. He leaps towards him, then shoots Amaterasu in his direction. Kakashi leaps off the ground and dodges again, then Sasuke aims his Chidori spear and stabs Kakashi with it. Kakashi flies to the floor and rolls away, away but stands and says, "You've gotten stronger, Sasuke." Sasuke says, "Of course, even stronger than Naruto." He launches his sword at him, but Kakashi rolls under it and reveals his Raikiri. He zooms into Sasuke, but Sasuke uses all his speed to catch his wrist last minute. He actually catches the wrong place because he put too much effort into speed more than accuracy, then his hand starts to bleed. He makes a small facial gesture of discomfort from the pain and says, "You think this weak jutsu can hurt me?" Naruto says from behind, "This can." Sasuke turns and Kakashi backs out of the way. Naruto uses the Kyuubi Rasen Shuriken, then slams him into the water below. He causes a massive outburst of water and causes the rock to his side to shatter and crumble. Sasuke bursts out of the water and punches Naruto away. Naruto tries to counter but then gets blown away by the black Chidori. Sasuke's eye bleeds and his purple Susanoo reveals itself. Naruto says, "Not now, Sasuke." Sasuke says, "Or what?" He zooms at Naruto and tries to land a powerful kick. Naruto just manages to dodge and the water below him waves violently from the wind released. He bounces up and punches Sasuke in the face, but Sasuke doesn't even fall back in the slightest. He tanks the punch with ease and laughs at Naruto. He punches him away then says, "So weak, Naruto, but I know this isn't your full power. Stop toying with me." He zooms at Naruto and goes in for the final attack, but he is blocked by an Ape Sage Mode Naruto. He knocks back a little, but Naruto is sent rolling away. This doesn't necessarily mean that Sasuke is stronger than Naruto, it's just that Naruto wasn't using as much power as Sasuke was. Sasuke raises his hand and says, "Trash." A black Chidori forms in his hand and golden energy swirls within the core of the Chidori. Naruto looks in confusion and thinks, how is he able to have that? Did he get Ape Sage Mode? He launches it at Naruto, but Naruto flips right out of the way and it causes a massive explosion behind him. Toby then teleports right next to him. Sasuke barely has time to even turn to him before they are both gone. Naruto's Ape Sage Mode fades and he says, "Where'd they go?" Kakashi shrugs and says, "Don't know." Naruto says, "I was about to fight him." Kakashi says, "Well, lucky you dodged that weird Chidori. If you didn't, we all would have been done." Across the land in the Black Mountains, Son Wukong is sitting in his throne as the rightful king. However, the Ape Sage that granted Sasuke his powers is standing outside of their territory. Many Ape Sages are seen roaming their area below their palace where Son Wukong is. This Ape Sage blitzes across the land like he's flying and lands on the large staircase up to the palace. You see some Uzaru in this what if are almost like human height, like Son Wukong who is like 8 foot, but some are very large and therefore the buildings are huge. This ape is very small at a height of something like 7 foot. He runs up the steps at phenomenal speed and meets 2 large Uzaru guards. One says, "Who are you?" He says, "Son Wukong's brother." He pulls down his black mask and reveals his scarred face. One Uzaru's eyes open and they try to interrogate him. He uses his black energy to kill one Uzaru by exploding his head and he lands and leaps up to the other Uzaru. He kicks their face and they slam into the building wall. He then slams them to the floor with exploding black energy and he lands. He finger flicks at the door and it flies open. He walks through and Son Wukong immediately stands up. He says, "You." He says, "Brother." He says, "I told you never to return here." He says, "Well, I did. Will you kill your own brother?" Son Wukong takes off his crown and leaps down to him. He says, "I will do anything to bring the Black Mountains to peace." Son Wukong zooms at him but he gets blown away by an explosion. He slams into the staircase and his brother goes in for a punch. He swiftly swerves out of the way then kicks him in the chest. He launches a red mouth bomb that is blocked. He says, "Brother, you are strong but I've gained power beyond your imagination." He zooms back at him then heel kicks him away right in the nose. He plants his foot then kicks him again. Son Wukong blocks and grabs his head and slams it into the ground. He punches him further into the floor then launches a mouth bomb into the ground. It causes a massive explosion and his brother is actually quite bruised. He kicks him away then Son Wukong clenches his fists. His muscles buff up then he roars at him. He says, "Brother, you stand no chance." Black energy then swooshes around him. It then shoots up and zooms into him. His muscles enlarge and his eyes fully go black. He explodes with energy and a massive black aura is revealed. Son Wukong reveals 2 red energy balls and shoots them both at him. He blocks both and Son Wukong launches his powerful white one. His brother slides back from the impact then he kicks him up to the roof of the palace. However, he dives down and throws a large black spear down at him. Son Wukong isn't able to move away in time and gets stabbed by it. He slams into the floor below then the black spear turns to smoke. He gets slammed into the ground and the floor crumbles. Son Wukong kicks him off then backflips way back. He gets approached and then they fall into close quarters combat. His brother shows overall speed while Son Wukong shows much superior strength. He powerfully kicks him away and says, "Back when we used to spar with father, you saw I was faster but never noticed my much superior strength too. I'm older than you, why wouldn't I be stronger than you? You wasted your time gaining all this speed when you can't even hurt me." He clenches his fist and says, "No, I must end it now. What he's saying is an obvious lie." He raises his arms and a black energy ball forms within each palm. Sun Wukong opens his mouth and a white energy ball forms in his mouth. The two energy waves clash and Sun Wukong pushes as hard as he can. His brother seems to be winning, then the floor below him cracks. His mouth starts to bleed from the pressure. He falls back and thinks, no, this can't be it. The Black Mountain, they'll fall in and balance with him around. My own brother had to fall into this path. Why? But then he uses his arms to launch two red energy waves. The three released energy waves fuse to form a massive pink energy blast. Sun Wukong overpowers him in their final battle and his brother is sent right to the ground. Sun Wukong walks over to him and says, my own brother, why did you have to go down this dark path? He says, I wanted to get as strong as you. Sun Wukong says, not like this. He says, well, it's all over now. Sun Wukong says, no, I can get you treated and you'll be fine. He says, no, I can feel it, it's over. Sun Wukong says, no, trust me, you can get through this. He says, I went against the king and I paid my debt. My life. His hand drops and Sun Wukong drops to his knees. He whispers shakily, no. He dies and Sun Wukong slowly lays down his hand. He thinks, why? Why did he have to go down this road, this path? Now he's gone. He stands and takes his body. He walks out of the palace and walks down the long steps to give him a proper burial in secret. So that will conclude the 9th part of What If Naruto Was an Ape's Age. I certainly had fun recording this, especially at the part where the brothers fought at the end. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.